Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have terrible luck for the next week.
Animals can't talk, right?
Oh.
That's something we all know. I mean, you usually cannot carry on a conversation with an animal. I'm sure you must have tried and failed because, as we all know, animals do not have the capacity to actually speak. It's not any fault of theirs, it's just the way things are. But is that really true? Are we correct when we say animals don't have the ability to speak? Or are we just protecting what we think to be true? Well, it turns out we may have been extremely wrong. Today on 100M, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 animals who can speak. Number 10. Einstein the parrot. Honestly, what do you expect from an actual parrot named Einstein? Einstein, the African gray parrot, lives at the Knoxville Zoo in Tennessee and is just about 30 years old. The parrot has a vocabulary of about 200 words and can even say 77 of them on cue.
Yeah, it's nice and clean now.
It is definitely one parrot with a personality. In this video, you can clearly see the parrot answering questions with gusto and is being snarky. For example, it is asked if it can be a little more polite to its handler, and the instant response is, "Hi, sweetheart." Einstein became really popular after it became the pet star on Animal Planet's hit game show. Later that year, Einstein even went on a TED Talk with his handler, Stephanie White. The TED Talk was so popular that it garnered about 2.2 million views. That's a lot for a TED Talk. Wait, that's a lot for a parrot. Some say that Einstein may just be an avian Einstein, and is probably the most intelligent bird we know. Is that true? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Number 9. Alex the Gray.
Alex was a parrot.
Alex, what toy? Nail. Nail, that's right, you're a good birdie.
We aren't done with parrots just yet. Alex is a gray African parrot just like Einstein. It may even be smarter than Einstein. This is probably the only right sentence where something named Alex is smarter than another thing named Einstein.
Well, you're a good boy. Wanna go eat dinner?
Alex was bought when he was just 1, and was the subject of a scientific experiment that spanned over 30 years. His owner was Irene Pepperberg, and she was an animal psychologist at the University of Arizona who was studying language in relation to animals. In fact, the name Alex is basically an acronym for Pepperberg's Animal Learning Experiment. Sadly, Alex died in 2007. However, by the time of his death, he could recognize over 50 objects and had a vocabulary of over 100 words. He was also said to have the intelligence of an average 4-year-old.
What?
Just before Alex died, he said these 3 words to Pepperberg: "You be good." And those words outline just how extraordinary Alex was. Number 8. Nikisi the African parrot.
What you doing up?
Okay, this is the last parrot on this list, I promise. Like Alex and Einstein, Nikisi was an African gray parrot. It seems African gray parrots are much more gifted than other kinds of parrots in the art of speaking. But Nikisi was even far more gifted than Alex and Einstein. In fact, some say he was more gifted than both of them put together. And it's hard to see how that's not true. For example, Nikisi could memorize over 959 words, and he had the unique ability to use them in context and was even able to complete sentences. Some say that Nikisi may even have had a rudimentary grasp of the verb form of words. On one occasion, the bird said flied, when it hadn't even been taught the past tense of fly. That's amazing, even for a talking parrot. And talking parrots are extremely amazing. Number 7. Mishka the dog.
Mishka, bye-bye.
You're probably super surprised to find a dog on this list. After all, parrots and chimps may be able to speak, but definitely not dogs. That would be impossible, right? Well, wrong. Most Siberian Huskies have actually been known to communicate with one another through warbling noises and long whinings. This is unlike the normal barks that we know, but that doesn't mean that Huskies can actually talk, or does it? What do you hear in this video?
I love you.
Yes, that's a husky, and yes, the dog is clearly saying, "I love you," or at least it sounds like it is. In any case, this video made Mishka go viral in a way that's never been seen before. The video of her talking was posted on YouTube, and it has garnered over 100 million views. Sadly, Mishka is no longer with us. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she's since passed away. However, given the fact that dogs usually live for 12 to 15 years, Mishka had a long and good life. She was born in 2002 and passed away in 2017. That's 15 years well spent in happiness and love. Number 6. Blackie the cat.
Can you please just try to be nice?
Talking dogs, now talking cats. Well, it is what it is for the most part. But how did Blackie the cat actually learn to speak? Get ready for a weird story. It goes this way. When Blackie the cat was just a little kitten, its owner, Carl, dreamt that the cat was talking to him. When he woke up, he was convinced that the cat would be able to speak, so he spent the rest of his years dedicating to teaching the cat how to talk. Remarkably, he was successful, and the cat was able to say, "I love you," and "I want mommy."
Stop it! Stop it! Kitty!
What up?
What is that?
What?
Your neck, Kitty! Are you mad at me?
Yeah.
This made the cat, and Carl, its owner, very famous indeed. Blackie was so popular that it even appeared on the radio and TV. Carl easily made a business out of Blackie's talking abilities, and people were willing to pay. Things got a bit tricky for Carl and his cat when he took his talking cat business to Georgia. The police there charged him with running a business without a license, and Carl said that he would be an infringement of his cat's freedom of speech. However, a local judge was having none of that. Cats do not have the freedom of speech, the judge said. And even if they did, Blackie should be man enough, or cat enough, to speak for itself. Number 5. Kosik the elephant. Yes, even elephants can sometimes talk. Kosik is a male Indian elephant that became something of an internet sensation when it was discovered that he could actually speak. Sadly, Kosik can only speak one language, and that language is Korean. So if you're expecting an elephant to say words like goodbye and thank you, you may be sorely disappointed by Kosik. In September 2006, Kosik's handlers discovered that the elephant had learned the ability to imitate the Korean words for yes, no, sit, and lie down. Kosik made this sound by putting his trunk in his mouth and shaking it while exhaling. This is somewhat like what you do when you try to whistle with your fingers in your mouth. However, we do not yet know if Kosik truly understands the meaning of these words when he speaks them. For all we know, he could just be imitating sounds that he's heard. But imagine if he actually knew the meaning of what he was saying? That would be remarkable. Number 4. Odie the pug.
I love you.
If you thought we were going to have only one talking dog on this list, you were wrong. Because we're going to have 2. And the second one is Odie the talking pug.
I love you.
Many people think that pugs are stupid, and this may have to do with the way their eyes look. But Odie has proven that stereotype wrong. Not only are pugs smart, but they may also even know how to speak. Sadly, Odie's vocabulary only includes about 3 words, but that's a lot for a pug. Odie was featured on The Late Night Show with David Letterman and The Oprah Winfrey Show. And on those shows, the dog was happy to show everyone what he could say. And what could he say? Well, the words "I love you" are the only things Odie can say, and he bellows them out with so much gusto whenever he's asked to. Number 3. Hoover the seal. So yes, seals can talk. Well, not like talk, but they can communicate with human beings. I bet you never heard of seals doing that, did you? Hoover the seal was founded by George and Alice Swallow in 1971, and he was taken in by his human parents. Hoover grew very fast, and soon he was bigger than his tub and was eating faster than a vacuum cleaner. Soon, Hoover moved to a pond outside the home of his adoptive parents and began to live there. It was in his pond that Hoover learned to speak and imitate voices. In fact, he was able to learn a thick English accent. Before long, he got the attention of people and was moved to the New England Aquarium, where he entertained visitors with phrases like "get out of here" and "well, hello there." Sadly, Hoover died in 1985. Now it's time for today's best pick. Our best pick for today was sent in by a subscriber. If you ever come across a picture online and would like to know its origins, you can send it right to us. Who knows, you may even get to feature in a future video. Number 2. Lucy the chimp. Lucy Timmerlin loved gin, and when she had visitors, she would happily make them tea. This would be normal behavior for a human being, of course, but Lucy was no human. In fact, she was an actual chimp. Lucy Timmerlin is owned by the Institute for Primate Studies in Oklahoma, and she got her surname from Maurice Timmerlin, a university professor and a psychotherapist. Lucy actually began as an experiment and sought to bridge the gap between humans and animals. She was brought up like a human being by Maurice and his wife, and was taught to eat at the dinner table, use silverware, and even dress. She was taught rudimentary sign language to help her communicate, and she was eventually able to learn about 140 words. What's more, she was able to use these words in sentences regularly, That means when she had needs, she communicated them via these words. Even though Lucy never actually spoke like a human being, she used sign language with expertise that very few animals or human beings have been able to master. Lucy's story is obviously very intriguing, and you can read all about it in Maurice Timmerland's novel, Growing Up Human, a chimpanzee daughter in a psychotherapist family. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it really works. Number 1. Knock the beluga whale. You've seen dogs, cats, chimps, parrots, and even an actual elephant speak, but you probably never believed that the number 1 name on this list would be an actual whale. But it is, and it is incredible. In 1977, Knock was captured by Inuit hunters as a juvenile. About 7 years later, when he was just past around the age of 9, Knock said his first words. These words were captured by a diver who went into the enclosure Knock was in. Apparently, he heard the words, "out, out, out," and swam to the surface. When he got to the surface, he asked if anyone had been calling him. His colleague said no, and that's when they realized that Knock could actually speak. Soon they began to record his words and even started to reward speaking. This, of course, forced him to make even more human vocalizations. Like Kosik the elephant, we don't know for sure if Knock understands the meaning of the words he's saying. Perhaps he was just imitating sounds he'd heard. But what if he was not? Can whales understand the words we say? Well, that's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Goodbye, and see you on the next video.